So this would have been Valentine's Day 2020. You remember where you were, what you were thinking? You probably had never heard of COVID. The world had no idea, literally, we had no idea how our lives were about to change because of this mysterious virus from China. Take a listen.
Dozens of Chinese have come down with pneumonia in a major city in western China, and officials don't know why. They know it wasn't caused by flu, and they have traced it to a food market. Officials now worry that traveling patients could spread the disease.
Oh, and they did spread it. More than 1 million Americans, 1.1 million Americans would die. Reading math scores would plummet because of lockdowns. We'd miss weddings, anniversaries, graduations, tore families apart. The economy took a $14 trillion hit. And now we're, quote unquote, back to normal. It's worth pointing out, though, that we are in no better position to handle the next pandemic. There's still dozens of unanswered questions about how the U.S. and world leaders responded. For years here on the program, we've been calling on Congress to create a blue ribbon commission to investigate just basic things about what worked and what didn't. You think we'd want to get to the bottom of all of the problems of the pandemic. A blue ribbon commission, 9/11 style commission, January 6th committee style investigation, so we can fix all the problems. You know, it was long ago based on that hair. Bethany McLean's book, well, doesn't quite replace a blue ribbon commission, but she's tackling some of these issues surrounding COVID. It's called The Big Fail, what the pandemic revealed about who America protects and who it leaves behind. Bethany is with us now. Just from the start, right, COVID became incredibly politicized. I'm wondering how you had to deal with that in reporting this book.
So it never made sense to me. I remember in the early stages of the pandemic, I was on Twitter worried about children needing to get back into school. And a friend of mine said to me, "I didn't know you were a Trump voter." And it confused me to no end because I thought, what does one's politics have to do with how you think we should respond to a pandemic? And yet that became the case almost instantaneously, where how you felt about wearing masks and how you felt about lockdowns and even how you felt about getting children back in school was a sign of your politics. And the crazy thing is that it's still that way today. And honestly, it seems so absurd to me that on one level, I'm shocked that it is, and yet it's one of those things that is. And I think that's part of the problem with our collective unwillingness to look at what happened in the pandemic, is that we're all still dug into these ideological views about how we should have handled it.
Fair enough. Yeah, I was reading your bio. Contributing editor at Vanity Fair is not exactly a bastion of Trump supporters. But we think about blue ribbon commissions. January 6th, JFK assassination, September 11th, Iraq War, Pearl Harbor, America's nuclear future. There was even one on baseball economics that George Will was a part of. Why is there such a reluctance, though, even if it's not to assign blame, simply to learn so that the next time there's a pandemic, which there's going to be, we know what works and what doesn't?
I'm as upset about that as you are, and I don't know the answer to that. I think it is. We all want to pretend it didn't happen. Nobody wants to look back at it. Nobody got it perfectly right. I don't think there was a leader who was covered in shining armor about the way he or she handled this. So I'm not sure there's anybody in power who wants to have questions asked. I also think some of the issues that led us to handle the response so badly are deeply embedded. They were a long time in the making. And so,
Bethany, let me just stop you real quick, because I think the book is a fascinating and important topic, and maybe as close to a blue ribbon commission as we get. Top two takeaways of things that we got wrong that you all found.
Well, I think one is our ideological divides, our unwillingness to listen and learn from each other. The fact that states did their own things and nobody was willing to say, wait, this appears to be working. Wait, this doesn't appear to be working. The way in which we divided between we care about the economy and we care about people, that is such an artificial divide. The economy is people. It is people's lives. We should all care about these things. And then I think the utter mess of our healthcare system, which we all know, but it's this gigantic disaster hanging over all of our heads. I mean, the fact that our excess deaths were worse than other developed countries is bad enough. But when you contrast that to our spending on healthcare, which as a percentage of GDP is double other countries, it's even worse. So what is going wrong with our healthcare system if our people are sicker and more vulnerable to a pandemic than those in other countries?
Fascinating. Really important that you're doing this. Thank you for doing the work Congress and the president and others will not, Bethany, and we're going to have you back. Continue the conversation. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.